Greetings, everyone. This is Hegerherger, and I will be making my first attempt at doing an episode review, Season 8, Episode 1, Winterfell. I won't be going into any great detail on this, but this is more of a collection of my first impressions of what I caught and saw after my first viewing of the episode. I liked what they did with the new credits. There's much more detail, kind of making up for the fact that there's so fewer locations for us to visit. Um, it did look different enough to almost suggest that it was a different production house, but I did like them. I also have to say that I noticed a little bit of detail on the first time the astrolabe banding comes around, which you can see right here. A lion eating a fish. Nice touch. Since I watch Game of Thrones through my computer and not over a TV, I did a quick slide over to see how long this episode was, and I was disappointed that the episode was only 16 minutes. I was going with what they said originally, that these were going to be feature length, but I hope very much that the episodes get longer as we go along. I liked the arrival at Winterfell, the marrying between that boy and Arya from the initial arrival at Winterfell back in season one. I liked it a lot. As it is said, history does repeat, but I like the idea of history not repeating, but definitely rhyming, and I think this could certainly apply to this particular sequence. Although it was just a small detail, one of the things that caught my attention immediately was the marching pace of the Unsullied. It seemed rather fast. Um, Having been in the military and having gone on a couple of marches, what U.S. Marines called humps in basic, units don't sound like that. Now I know that the Roman legions had to maintain fitness to go 20 miles in 5 hours, but that involves longer strides, not that very quick. I don't even know how to describe it. I just found that odd. I loved all the reunions as they arrived at Winterfell. I was almost making a checklist in my head, going, "Yep, and yep, and yep." As much as I liked the reunion between Sansa and Tyrion, I think I've discovered where Cersei got her intelligence boost last season. It appears to have come from Tyrion. By the time they got around to this scene, I literally said out loud, it's like, wow, they're really milking the Jon and Arya reunion. I was really, really half vibrating, waiting for it. Of all the reunions of all the Stark children, I was expecting the reunion between Arya and Jon to be the most heartfelt and tender, and I was not disappointed at all. When it came to this scene, I absolutely cheered when Yara actually spoke. Like many in the community, I had feared that she would follow the line of Thalia Flowers from the pre-release chapters, and I am so glad that that did not happen. I was massively disappointed when Strickland announced that he did not have elephants with them. I was so looking forward to the possibility of seeing war elephants in Game of Thrones. That would have been so kicked ass. But oh well. I was a little surprised at the casting of Strickland. I had always imagined Strickland being um, older, probably early to mid 40s, and I expected him to seem a little softer looking, not fat like Robert Baratheon, but a little warrior, being older, the fact that he was constantly having trouble with his feet, and that he was better at negotiating contracts than actual fighting. Um, I'm not sure. We'll see it how it goes. I can imagine that the war elephants were not included for reasons of budget. They would be very expensive to do. Um, they have probably, they definitely ate the uh, episode budget up on the dragons since we didn't even see Ghost. It's been over 2 seasons. This is getting a little ridiculous. I did think this sequence a very smooth way of getting Braun out of King's Landing and to join the rest of the Scooby Gang, on account of Cersei couldn't do it because, well, Jerome and Lena Healy absolutely despise each other. So using the Qyburn character as an intermediary um, is a perfect touch. Although looking at Braun's face right here, he does not look happy. I'm kind of guessing that he's having a bit of a struggle here inside himself. We know that he likes Tyrion, and he has obviously formed a uh, brotherly slash soldierly relationship with Jaime, and it very much looks to me that he's fighting between his money and castles and the connections that he's forged with these two men, and he's not a happy camper. I liked the fact that they didn't muck around when it came to Theon's plan to rescue his sister. They're moving things along nicely. Um, so I think that that's really good. I also noticed that making your crew all mutes does have its serious disadvantage. Not one of these guys that was hanging out on deck when the Ironborn showed up was able to, I don't know, shout an alarm. Let everybody know that there are intruders on deck. Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a short, little, little bit of hole in that plan. Now that's Ironborn love if I ever saw it. If it wasn't the headbutt, it was going to be be a punch. I was expecting a punch, but the fact that Yara had her hands tied behind her back, probably just after untying, probably wouldn't be able to swing a punch real well. So a headbutt works absolutely perfectly. And I was not surprised at all to see that Theon wants to return to Winterfell to fight. When I was watching the flying sequence, I had a smack of King Jaehaerys and Good Queen Alysanne in my mind. I can certainly see them having done this during the early years of their life. So I thought to myself, how very Targaryen. And after they landed and got to this point, I also had the flash of the dogs looking over the bottom of the bed, looking up at their owners while they have sex. Honey, we're being watched. Oh, never mind, that's just the dogs. Although I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping that Jon mounting Rhaegal would have happened under more intense circumstances in terms of battles going on around them and stuff like that. So I think that was a wasted opportunity, but we'll have to see what happens in upcoming episodes before judgment can truly be given on that. Also, the fact that it doesn't click in John's head that, hey, wait a second, I'm riding a dragon. How should that even be possible while being a Stark? Now, I also realize, yes, he doesn't have the knowledge we have, but that didn't set up even the little tiniest doubt in the back of his mind. I hope that's something that they actually address at some point. The scene between Sam, Jorah, and Daenerys was very, very well done. You could certainly feel uh, the Daenerys's gratitude, and you could also feel Sam's pain. It was heartbreaking to watch, and just the look on Jorah's face when he realized, oh gods. As to informing Jon of his true ancestry, I'm kind of glad that they're doing it now, even though it's at the end of the first episode. Um, get it into the light for everything, for all the drama that it's going to cause. Let's do that. Get that out of the way as soon as possible. Not that it's going to be an easy thing for anybody to swallow, but it will be interesting. When it comes to Last Hearth, I had a great deal of foreboding in my stomach as Dundarian and co. When they entered the castle and started wandering the halls, you could see the blood smears of where people had died. I did think it was quite amusing when Dundarian and Tormund stop at the entrance to the castle itself while they're in the courtyard, and Tormund stopping, and then Dundarian going forward, and Tormund going, "Okay, now I follow," even though this is insane. Then once they get inside, they have a amusing recreation of that scene from Brandon Fraser's Mummy when they're going towards the base of the statue of Anubis and then come across the American treasure hunting team and are pointing weapons at each other. I I would get a picture, but I don't want to be hit for copyright infringements. But all that levity goes away when they reach the Great Hall and they see Lord Umber staked to the wall in the middle of a spiral. The same spiral that we have been seeing since, not quite the beginning, but since season 3. They hit the tone perfectly for that sequence in that it was filled with just foreboding and dread, and just I could kind of feel the malice in that scene from the Night King. And probably as characters present, they would probably have also have felt it as well. When it comes to the last scene and Jaime Lannister arriving at Winterfell and Brand sitting right there in his wheelchair at the entrance of the Godswood, I'm thinking it was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. No, don't, no, don't cut it here. Don't take a piss. Don't cut it. Oh, and of course, the credits. I'm like, that was a dick move. However, I do understand it. I find it frustrating, but I understand why they did it. All in all, I thought the episode was a decent first episode for a season, especially after as long as a wait as we have had for this season. It would have been very difficult to have lived up to everybody's expectations because there was so much anticipation um, that it probably could never have possibly have lived up to. It was solid after a little bit of thought. I had originally given it a 7. I'm going to kind of crank that back to a 6.5 because of some of the issues that I outlined here. But I'm one of those people who's very much in the moment. I enjoy an episode. I enjoy it episode by episode. It will be interesting to see how this stacks up and fits in with the rest of the season. So you really can't give any solid judgment at this particular point, especially since we've only had one episode of this season. But I'm really looking forward to Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for this episode. Give me a like and share, and I'll see you around at the next one.